What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show here on Sherdog.com, and I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Leah McCourt today before her return at Bellator Dublin next Friday against Dayana Silva. Leah, thank you very much for joining me today. Two things I have to start off with straight away. Stormzy, we need an update. I know your friend Molly McCann. She was with him the last time. She had to put in. She surely put in a good word for you. Will Stormzy be walking you out? Is this any closer to happening this time?
He won't be walking me out, but I'm changing my walkout song for this fight. So you'll see, and the person that I've changed it to actually messaged me recently, so it could be him or Stormzy. I don't know. So one day it'll happen.
That needs to happen. Did Molly try to put in a good word or anything? I know you'll be talking about this for a long time.
Did you see Molly was like lifting him?
Yeah, and then Paddy had to catch him and hold him up.
I think Stormzy was like, "What the hell is this crazy person?"
That tends to happen around MMA. What was that like? I know Stormzy was around, your Dave Portnoy was around, and different people. And that must have been a fun fight week to be around.
Yeah, it was so fun. It's always fun doing anyone's fight week with them because you don't have to fight at the end. You just get to have the crack.
That's always good.
You're not cutting weight. You don't have to fight, and there's no stress. So I always love doing fight weeks when I'm not fighting.
That's the job. And the second thing I want to ask you before I get into the fight stuff, PSG. Why PSG? Why are you a PSG fan? How did that manage to happen?
I don't know. I think it's more to do with their collab with Air Jordan. I love it. But yeah, big PSG fan. Oh God, they're the worst. PSG.
No! They're the worst. They're just like, they're everything that's bad about football. Like that's what PSG are. But anyway.
I don't, to be fair, I don't really follow that much football, so
yeah,
I can't really comment.
The jersey is nice, to be fair. Now, all right. So yeah, if I was going for,
I always look like a PSG goalie when I travel anywhere. I always have like the tracksuit on.
yeah, you do actually. I bet you get mistaken for. Oh, you play for PSG. You probably get it. Yeah, so that'd be the job. Plenty of money anyway if you're playing for PSG. So that'd be hard.
I freaking wish I could play football.
Yeah, that'd be the job. Come here. I know you just arrived back in Belfast in the last couple of days from, you were in Liverpool, were you? How's not to start off with the whole question of how's training gone, but you've been away, you've been in Liverpool in different places. Kind of walk us through where you've been since maybe the last time in terms of training.
Yeah, so in February I fought, then I came back and was just like trying to get back to the place where I was enjoying training and not like being stressed and under pressure every time I'm going to the gym, like because I obviously have I did 3 fights within 9 months, like back to back, and I just wanted to like enjoy learning again, even though like I obviously love training. I just wanted to get back to actually like be in an environment where I'm like happy and content and learning, and just like without the pressure of like a fight coming up or like weight cut or making weight. So I did a few trips over to Amsterdam. I trained in SB gym with Saeed. He's coming over, I think he's quarter Melvin, and I was over helping Molly get ready for one of her UFC London fights. So my plan after I was headlined in the 3 Arena back in 2020 was to kind of move to next gen and do my camp there, but obviously COVID came and like there was 2 years of like not traveling and travel restrictions, and it kind of just made sense to finish my camp there. The Sebastian Torres, he was away in Brazil, and it just made sense to finish it there. So it's just been an amazing, I think it was about 16 weeks I was there. I actually filmed a TV show in the Dominican in May, for the full month of May as well. So I was away in the Caribbean, and then when I came back I just did like 16 weeks of training over in Liverpool.
What was that TV show?
It was actually Bellator arranged it. I didn't really want to do it, and then I liked the concept of the show. They won't let me talk about it. Okay. But it's going to be out in February next year.
Oh, very good.
It's a good show, yeah.
That's exciting. Are you the only fighter, or is there loads of? I shouldn't be asking, but is there loads of other people on it? Or
there's like other athletes and like Olympians and trainers and stuff, but Yeah, it was really good.
That should be fun. Well, what's it like training with Molly? I know, like just looking at Molly from the outside, looking in, her level has just absolutely climbed in the last few years after signing with the UFC, obviously, and getting to where she is a superstar now alongside Paddy. It must be great to be training alongside someone like that who's aiming for the very top as well.
Yeah, like obviously me and Molly have been best friends for years and years and years. Like, and I've trained over an extent since the start of my professional career, and I've always been really close to Paul. Remember the head coach there? He's always given me advice, and he's always been someone I speak to quite regularly. So it's been really nice to just have my whole, have that kind of team just as my, just to be going to one place and getting everything under the one roof and just being able to focus on training, because when I'm at home, I'm like, being a mom, I'm doing this and that and doing a million other things. And I stay obviously with Molly and her girlfriends in Liverpool, and we've just had the best time and it's nice just more so outside of training, because you have someone that knows what you're going through and how you're feeling and the pressure and the everything that I go through, she goes through, and people don't really understand it, until you're in one of our positions. So it's just definitely had one of the best camps ever.
That's fantastic. And obviously coming from the last fight, going through things going into fight, the last camp must have been one of those emotionally, fighting obviously Sinead Kavanagh from Ireland as well. Like, being at the fight, I've never experienced anything like it, because there's people cheering for you one second, there's people cheering for Sinead the next second. They want neither of you to lose, they want both of you to win, and it was just...
I think I was like that too. I don't think I want
weird.
Either.
it was so odd. How did you prepare for that mentally? I know Sinead, I spoke to both of you coming up to it, and you were both very respectful, and I think someone said something to Sinead on one of the media days, and she kind of forced herself to turn mentally maybe a little bit. I don't think she believed it. What was it like for you mentally preparing for that fight and in it?
Yeah, it was. I was definitely a lot more. I don't know if it was pressure. I just feel like it was. I just knew it was going to be a big event and a big, and such an exciting fight, because as a fan, it would be a fight that I would have really wanted to see and watch. And physically, I wasn't 100%. I had COVID. I tested positive for COVID 2 weeks before, and I think physically I was a bit drained, and definitely felt the effects of that during the fight. It was such a tough back and forth fight, and during the fight, all I could hear was Connor screaming for Sinead, and then somebody screaming for. It was very there was so much going on during the fight, if you know what I mean. It was quite intense, and there was a lot of emotion, and afterwards I was so unwell. I had to be carried out. I was projectile vomiting for an hour, and I couldn't breathe. It just was so ill from not being very well, and then having obviously such a tough 3-5 minute rounds. But you know what? I wouldn't change it, and it's just part of my journey and my path. And that was her night, and she deserves it. So definitely would like to do it again sometime. It's not even the fact that I'm she beat me, I want to beat her. It's just I think it's one of the only fights that really interests me, and unless it's a title shot, because it's just so, it is exciting. We're both get good attention, and we're both from Ireland.
I think it's a fight that the second it ended, I'm that's going to happen again. It was almost, and I think even Sinead was like that. I think most people were like that. What was it like? I remember we spoke before about COVID, probably months and months before you got it this time, and you were talking about you'd done research and looking to seeing athletes with COVID and how it affected them. I suppose to get it so close was a little bit different, but did that kind of play into your mind, knowing that you had it so close when the fight came then?
It was more so the weight cut, because I was panicking because I couldn't train. I was so ill, and I was too excited. I was like, fuck. I was like, how am I going to lose? I remember putting on a coat with my sister. It was so cold, and doing steps around this forest near us. I had to just keep walking to try and cut weight. It was obviously when you're ill, you have to eat to feel better and so your immune system's better. And I was panicking in case I tested positive fight weight, because I told Bellator obviously that I had tested positive, but it was 16 days out, so it was you're actually allowed to do it. So luckily it was 2 days before the inside the 14-day period. And I was worried in case I was testing positive fight week, but because you've got a recovery certificate, it doesn't matter. But do you know what? It's one of those things that you're never going to fight feeling 100%, and I'm not making an excuse, but I just am saying that like it was definitely tough physically, because again it was such a like physical fight.
What was it like with Conor there? You mentioned him roaring cage side. I think a lot of fighters probably have heard him roaring cage side, especially those fights. But I remember actually he was at a fight of yours before, and he was shouting you on. To be at a fight now. I think I was a wee bit like taken aback, because obviously like I like him and we've spoke, but like at the same time obviously Sinead is closer to him and teammate. But I just thought, I don't know, it was just something I noticed when I was fighting, and I don't normally notice. I think because he was so close, and usually it's just like the corner team that are allowed in that area, but obviously he was down as well, so yeah. Yeah, it definitely can be a little bit overbearing. I don't think you're the first one to think that. After the fight, like there was a lot of talk about the fight itself and how obviously Sinead got injured, and a lot of people thought maybe that'd play into your game plan. What, like, from you being into the fight, were you just kind of taken away in the fight, or were you just kind of running on empty from the very start, and like your brain wasn't working the way it normally would? Because you would think in that situation you'd get the fight to the ground and you would win and dominate it from that from that point, but it didn't kind of turn out that way. It was one of those fights that kind of took a life of itself. What was your kind of reaction watching it back and you watching your performance in it? Yeah, obviously like it started exactly how I wanted to. I got a takedown, and I think a lot of decision making really cost me the fight, and making bad decisions and not having aggression, because I wasn't feeling 100%. I also injured my arm like in that Kimura. Like that first minute was a tough situation to get out of. I actually remember thinking, am I a dick if I start kicking her leg? I was like, it's Sinead. I was like, I don't fucking look like a dickhead. Like, like if I had been anybody else, I would have, kicking it off him, yeah.
I was going like, I'm going like a scumbag if I have her knees sore and I start lacing in kicks.
That's a crazy thing to say. Like, is that a thing you've worked on, like, as well? Like mentally, it's like I need to be more of a, I don't know what the word, I'm a prick maybe would be the word, but then you have to be like, yeah. Just be more nasty. I think a big part of it is just like being nasty and have an intent, rather than thinking so much about like how to win, like actually just being more aggressive. And I think that Paul and Ellis from like Sherdog added so much to my kind of skill set and mindset that, God willing, that'll show next Friday. What is the improvements of your game have been, quite evident, I suppose, over the last while. Obviously, we know you coming in with the judo background and your ground game is absolutely phenomenal, but the striking has obviously been something that has been improving over the last few fights. And we see, in the camp, you just talk about Molly's striking has been improving, Paddy's striking has been improving. Is that something you'd say coming in? Obviously, we'll talk about Dayana Silva in a second, but from your own point, is that something that you kind of worked on a lot coming up for this camp and are working on a lot to improve as you go? I think it's just like any of us, all we're trying to do every day is try and improve and get better and work on what we need to improve on, and it's always going to be, you can't ever know anything. Obviously I have a lot to learn. I still feel like I'm so, like, because I've been fighting on the big show since like my first pro fight, I feel like I'm still such a beginner in some ways. I'm like, I have so much to learn, so much experience to get. Like if you look at like the top of my division, the girls have had like 20, 30 fights. Like this is still only my 9th professional fight. So it's like, yeah, it's definitely, obviously I'm always trying to work on every area, and that is part of it, yeah. Do you think it was like a little bit of a blessing in disguise, because after the fight they announced straight away that Sinead would be fighting Chris Cyborg, and now that's obviously not happening because of Sinead's injury and things, but you could have been in that position as well, fighting Chris Cyborg, and it would have been brilliant to be at the top and fighting for a title. But at this stage of your career, like, it's, Cyborg is obviously still very much in her prime and still an absolute beast. Do you think, like, sometimes people try to absolutely rush everything and vault people right to the very top immediately, but like, obviously you're still young in your career in terms of age and in the number of fights, and like in 10 fights time you'll still be there and still in your prime. Is that the sort of thing you've been thinking about maybe more long term?
I don't know. Do you know, I just take any opportunity as it comes, and I just, you know, could have been. I don't know. I just feel like sometimes God's plan's better than the plan that I have for myself, so I have to just accept what happens and not, like, I didn't feel sorry for myself and fucking gurn and complain and moan. I just got back to training and I just want to get better and be the best version of myself. And you know, it is my goal to be like a world champion. It's all I ever think about, all I ever want to do, because obviously I was an amateur world champion. It just is like, that's the dream, and no path is going to be like uphill. It's going to be up and down, and I know that, and I've got like that kind of mindset where you have to take the losses as well. So this was meant to be what's happening now, and we'll see what happens after. But yeah.
Yeah, as my friend Ian O'Neill says, the tough dog for the hard road and the pup for the pat. So yeah, that's the job on the hard road. I appreciate the time. The last couple of questions. What did Dayana Silva find when you heard about that, and you heard you're getting it back in Dublin? Obviously, in this state, I suppose it was probably in your mind for a good while. Were you excited by that matchup? Is that the sort of matchup that you're happy to get back coming in here?
Yeah, you know, she's a tough opponent as well. Like, it's not, you know, I've watched a few of her fights. I think that she's dangerous striker. She swings wild. She's very aggressive. Again, like over twice the amount of fights I've had. Like, she's a lot more experienced, but I do believe I have the skill set to finish her, and I feel like I just need to turn up and do what I do every day, and I'll get the job done. Like, I am confident going into it, and I'm so happy to be back in Dublin. Like, I never take for granted these opportunities, because like I love that I'm in this era of Bellator where they're doing these European shows. Like, you just have to drive 2 hours down the road and you have the likes of Yoel Romero and Melvin Manoff on the card. It's like, it is a bit surreal whenever you're getting to do this so close to home with all your family and friends around you. It's definitely I'm definitely very grateful for that. Yeah.
With Dayana, obviously, she fought Janae Harding in her last fight, and you've obviously fought Janae. What did you think about that performance? You know, she kept going, stuck in the fight after maybe a little bit of a shaky start. She's someone who really doesn't give up in fights, is she?
Yeah, she's got that heart and that like dog in her. You can tell that she's not going to give up easy. She's not going to go away easily, and she is aggressive. She throws with intent, and she'll come for you. I think she definitely was more aggressive than Janae in that last fight, and she was committing to her shots and stepping through. But I think when you watch her fights, every one of them's kind of the same. You can't see where she's progressed. Every fight she's standing in the middle having a boxing fight and throwing some low leg kicks. Do you know what I mean? It's like, obviously my game plan is to turn it into an MMA fight, and I'm not saying I obviously respect her skill, but I just think that looking at her, you don't see that development, and you know, I think that I have more skills than she's going to bring on the night.
That's definitely a fair breakdown. The last thing for me, you mentioned the crowd. What's it going to be like to have the crowd back? I suppose the last time was a bit weird.
I know, it was so weird.
It was weird.
Last time was so weird. I don't know. Yeah, I'm glad I'm back in the red corner.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be fun. Leah, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for the time, and best of luck next Friday.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye.